Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about the shops today and what are the great buys out of here and what are the total wastes that you should avoid. Starting here in the town shop, you really want to avoid these experience potions. They might be tempting if you're early on in the game and you need to level up your heroes, but you're going to max this out way before most other resources, so you should really avoid it. If you're in desperate need of them, you're probably leveling up too many heroes anyway, and you should focus on a tighter group of starting heroes. The energy I'll usually avoid, but it might make sense if you're buying so much energy with emeralds that you're getting through the 150 emerald purchases, and you're starting to do some of the 200 emerald purchases. Buying the bottled energy for 300 is a more efficient use than those 200 packages. These other little fragments here can actually make sense to buy. The purple items for sure are definitely going to do good things for you. The green things you probably aren't going to need, but they're so cheap here and gold is an abundant resource. You might grab some of these and maybe you'll use them as you develop another hero. Maybe you'll just exchange them as we get a task for exchanging items for guild activity points or things like that. One note on this refresh here, you're really not going to want to do that in most cases. It just won't be worth it. There's only one exception, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Onto the arena shop, and really the next several here are going to follow the same pattern, where you have a number of heroes up at the top and then some items down below that. If these heroes are part of your core team, then definitely get them, and after you have your core set of heroes bought up here, then you will want to level up secondary ones when you start to develop a stockpile of coins, but you don't want to come in here and buy them every day. You'll want to keep some coins on hand so that you can buy them during events that are going to give you some extra rewards for collecting hero soul stones. At the time of this recording, we've got the Autumn Fest coming up, and that event is going to need you to get 500 hero souls, so it could be useful to start saving up a little bit of these arena coins, grand arena coins, and so on, so that you can start to collect some of your second tier heroes out of here. Beyond that, with the blue components, I'd say don't spend your coins on that. You're going to get plenty of these out of the campaign rating. So even if you're new to the game and blue is what you're working on right now, hang on to your coins. You'll get much better use out of them later. And then the next note I'd say is that with these complete items, like a book of tales as opposed to just fragments, if this is something that several different items are going into, you're paying a lot of extra coins here just for the gold that it costs to forge those items. And you never really want to exchange much of any in-game resources for gold because it ends up being just very abundant. So, for example, this Book of Tales is made from flaming hearts and pastor seals, and if you were to buy those three things, then that's going to cost 49.50 coin. But here, buying the book is 5,400, so you're paying an extra 450 coins for that gold, which really you don't want to do. So, I would recommend buying just those individual items that are used to make this book, and then you can go ahead and make it yourself. It's also important to focus on the fragments here that are on the critical path of what items you're going to need the most of. And this is really a whole nother topic that I'll do a completely independent video on, but the point is, whatever set of heroes you choose to develop are going to need a certain amount of items, and a lot of fragments will be needed in vast quantities. Like with my team, I need something like 23,000 Lamort cards, And then some others you're going to need way less of. For example, the All-Seeing Eye, maybe you need 6,000 of. And some of those missions some of those fragments are going to come from the same mission. So you might say, well, I need 6,000 All-Seeing Eyes, so whenever they pop up, I better buy them. But they come from the same mission as Lamort Card, where I need 29,000. So really, you're going to effectively get all those All-Seeing Eyes for free, so you wouldn't want to buy them. You'd buy the Lamort Card to reduce what you need to get there, but you're still going to raid enough missions to get those Lamort Card fragments that you need, that the All-Seeing Eye will come for free. As you can see here, I bought the Sphere of Power already. That is a critical path item for me. These others are not. Book of Fate, you really don't need that many of those at all. Staff of Stubbornness, I don't have that many dodge heroes, so I've yet to make one of these actually. And then the red fragments are in here at double the cost, and the missions that you raid to get these are all 10 energy, but they usually have 2, sometimes 3 fragments that are going to be useful, so it really doesn't make sense for these to be twice the cost. I wouldn't ever buy the red items out of here. If you really want to get through the red items quickly, Rarity Fair is usually a better use of your resources. Move on to Grand Arena. This is going to follow the exact same guidelines that I mentioned in the Arena section. Similar items will appear in here. Here in this case, we've got Awakened Might, which is kind of a double bogey. It's the red, where it costs twice as much, but then it effectively also comes for free, because just about everyone is going to need way more Dragon's Hearts than Awakened Might recipe fragments, so you're going to get these for free. It doesn't really even matter what your team is. It's almost a guarantee. Tower Shop, it's going to follow the same guidelines. One note about some of these purple items is they're particularly, beyond even just the extra expense that you pay for the gold that I mentioned earlier, you really pay extra for these purple items that also involve blue components. So that is going to include things like the Executioner's Sword, Siren's Song that I think uses those blue loots, Primordial Words, which use the Portal Stone, even an Asclepius Staff, although I don't think you ever see the full item here. That depends on, I believe it's Siren Songs as well. And for whatever reason, those blue components are priced out even more expensively. Like this has 2 purple items, which should be 3,300 coins, and then a blue 5 component, 5 fragment item. So you're paying 1,400 extra coins here for that blue item, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. So definitely avoid these purple items that also are forged from blue items. In the Soul Shop, most of these items are going to be the same as what you saw up above, but if Jet is part of your team, that's really the only thing you should be buying from this shop. As you can see here, I am developing Jet, but these soul coins come in slowly enough that I really only buy him during events that reward getting hero souls. As you can see, I've got quite a bit saved up here. We've got that Autumn Fest coming up in a few days, so unless I'm about to achieve the next evolution, I don't bother to buy these other than when I get extra rewards. If Jet's not a hero that you're going to focus on developing anytime soon, then go ahead and buy these other items. Lycanthrope Fangs is one of the most needed items in the game, so that would be a great buy. But again, definitely avoid the EXP potions. Friendship shop is going to be exactly the same as we talked about in the other ones. Outland shop, this one really you don't want to buy anything but the skinstone chests. If you have a hero here as part of your core team, then fine, go ahead and get them to absolute star. But if these are secondary heroes for you, you might wait for Hero of the Month or Hero Soulstone chests, just because of how rare and valuable these skin stones are. This is going to take way longer than any other hero resource for you to max out. It'll take 3 or 4 times as long to get all the skin stones that you're going to need to develop up your heroes when compared to the items. So the best items are in this shop. They're here to tempt you into buying them instead of the skin stones, but the skins should be your top priority. These are all great critical path items for just about everyone. Everyone's going to need a lot of these helms, throwing knives, Enigma Chronicles. They would be great to see in any of the other shops, but here you should just get the skin stones. Here in the Guild Wars shop, in the skins tab here, if these are core heroes for you, again, they're part of your main 5, go ahead and get them, but I'd say only get them when you're actually going to be ready to pump the skin stones into them. If you buy them and don't level them up, they're just a very small modifier, and you'd be better off putting these trophies into the totems. That's the most important allocation really that you can do of any resource in Hero Wars, is to develop up your totems, and they're going to need a lot of these gold and silver trophies. You're going to need 16,000 gold trophies for each one of your totems eventually, and if you assume that you're in a gold league guild, you win every single day, you're a champion in that guild, it's still going to take you 78 weeks to max out each of your 3 totems. So really just use these sparingly. If you're going to buy them and actually you're ready to put the skin stones into them, this is a hero that you use, then fine. But if you're just going to buy it and have it sit there for 6 months or a year before you put anything into it, you'd be better off leveling up your totems. Valuables tab. Here there's a few more heroes. Again, if this is part of your main 5, go ahead and get them. Otherwise, just wait for Hero of the Month or Soulstone chests, or sometimes we have events that will allow you to get a lot of Soulstones. I don't really use the Esmond as part of my core team, but there was recently an event where you could easily have gotten 500 of her Soulstones. So for the same reason, save these trophies to level up your totems. These chests down here at the bottom are total garbage. Nothing comes out. Well, decent fragments come out of them, but just not enough for it to be even worth thinking about. The runes, you can get plenty of these elsewhere as well. These are only bronze trophies that you need to buy them, but I don't think this is the best place to get runes. I think you're better off exchanging your bronze trophies for the Titan resources. And specifically here, the potion, that's a good one. It's probably the best bet in the short term if you're a new player. You can really power up your Titans quickly with some of these potions, and that'll be important for the first several months, if not the first year or 2 of your play. But in the long term, one of the resources that's going to take the absolute longest to develop in the whole game is going to be these Titan skin stones. So if you're thinking very long term, you might think about allocating most of your bronze trophies here, just because of how long you're going to be needing to get these relative to almost anything else dealing with your Titans. you're going to max out the potions way before you'll get through the skin stones. That said, the potions will get your Titans stronger faster, so you've got to decide what's the right balance for you. In the long term, you'll need these skin stones, and you're going to get to a point where Titan potions are no longer useful, but you'll be stronger faster if you spend your bronze trophies on the potions. Alright, moving out of the town shops here. There's a merchant in the airship, but I'll have a different video on how to deal with hero artifacts. Alright, in the guild section here, there's a merchant that will appear after you get your first absolute star Titan. In here, Titan potions are definitely going to be your best buy here as long as you still have Titans to level up. You may be tempted to buy gold, and it's fine if you want to spend some of your coins there. If you're desperate for gold, this is probably the best way to get it. But I would say think about, if you do buy the gold here, think about spending some of it to level up your Titan artifact seals. They get to be pretty expensive, they need a lot of gold. But if you're not using your coins here to level up your potion, you might want to think about leveling up your artifact seals so that your Titan teams don't fall behind. The only way really to go wrong here in this shop is the Sparks of Power. It's an important resource, but you're going to get more of these by buying the potions and using them to level up your Titans than you would if you used the same coins to buy the Sparks of Power directly. And same goes for the gold. Actually, if you buy gold here and you level up your Titan artifact seals with that gold, you're going to get more sparks for the same amount of soul coins here. So really, this is, I think, here for the very long-term players. After you've maxed out your Titans and your seals are all leveled up, then really this is the only thing left for you here, but the returns are much lower. Alright, moving on to the Sanctuary. Alright, most of this is going to be controlled by the pet soul coin, which if you don't have an absolute star pet, you're not going to be seeing any of these for a long time. I don't, so. But most of these are pretty lousy buys anyway. You get 20 of these soul coin per excess pet soul stone. So really it's like an egg becomes 2 or 3 of these chaos particles. It's a pretty bad exchange. But the two items here that are great buys are the chaos particles and the pet potions. So definitely come in here and buy these every day. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this is this shop where it might make sense to actually spend emeralds just to get the refresh. If you're ever buying the pet gem charge-ups with emeralds, then you should be doing this first because you get a better rate of return. If you charge up gems with the emeralds, that costs 7 emeralds per chaos particle. But if you refresh the shop here, then you're going to get 10 particles per emerald on average. You might get 5, you might get 10, you might get 15, but on average you're going to get 10. I'm sorry. It's going to cost on average 5 emeralds per chaos particle instead of 7 emeralds per chaos particle. If you do this refresh with an average of 10 particles here. Yeah, and I happen to get 15, so this was a good day for me. Alright, then our last shop is in the Titan Valley. There's the certificate exchange merchant here to the left of the altar of the elements. Alright, here in the Elemental Tournament shop. First you have a number of the Titan artifact weapons, and lower down you can get the crowns as well. There's really nothing else to do with these Elemental Tournament coins, so when you're about to reach a new step of evolution, you can definitely buy some here. For the most part, I'd say just develop up whichever ones are most important for your tank Titan, and at least the crowns for the tank, and then maybe the weapon around whoever's doing the most damage. But there's an argument to not get too far away from the average on any one of your artifacts there, just because you'll then more quickly reach a point where you're still getting that fragment out of your Titan artifact spheres. So and then you just have to trade them for half as many coins that much quicker. So there's an argument to do it in some degrees of balance there as well. Certificate exchange. Here again, you're going to want to stick with the idea here of skin stones taking the longest to develop on the hero side of the game. So if these are all great heroes, if you're going to use them as part of your team, then fine. It's not a waste or anything to exchange these certificates to get these heroes. But you will see them occasionally as heroes of the month. We recently had an event where Kark was one of the rewards. I think you were also either able to get Sebastian or Nebula at the same time. So there are other ways that come up for you to get these heroes. But if they're a part of your core group, as for many of you Sebastian probably will be, there's a lot of Kark players out there. Really, they're all pretty common and pretty strong. It's not a bad buy. But again, in the long term, you're going to need these skin stones in much greater quantity and for longer, so that's where I'd focus. It's also the best value in terms of emeralds. If you were to get these skin stones out of the 4,500 emerald Outland chest buy, then you're getting 218 emeralds worth of skin stones out of this box here, whereas the artifact coin is only 138 emeralds to get the same amount of coins on average by buying the hero artifact keys on the 100 for 7,500 emerald purchase. The average return there is going to be 138. I'm sorry, 1,000 artifact coin per 138 emeralds. And then the chaos cores are worth something like 170 by that same metric coming out of those chests. So it would cost you more emeralds to get these skin stones, and if you're not spending emeralds, it's going to take you longer to get them, something like 3 or 4 times as long to max these out. And that'll only get bigger as more and more skins are added to the game. Each hero only has 3 artifacts, and that's a fixed number, but they're adding more of these skins all the time. So that's about it. If you have any questions on what I went over, or you disagree with anything I said, let me know in the comments. If you liked what I had to say, you think it's going to save you some emeralds and help you get ahead in the game, consider liking and subscribing. If you think I'm an idiot, then dislike and unsubscribe. Thanks.